Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. Now, if you're wondering what this big black thing is in front of me, it's my new microphone. My coach said it was good to get a great new microphone. I just had no idea how big it was and that you could actually see it when I'm doing these videos. So, maybe I'll just save them for podcasts and things like that. Anyway, you'll have to let me know what you think about the audio quality. I'm still learning how to use it. But to get on with our Spiritual Medicine Digest for the week of October 23rd, 2016, I think the biggest thing I want to share with you is that as we're going through these ascension upgrades, I want to remind everyone that their boundaries are going to be tested, not because it's something bad, but because that as we expand in our consciousness, it's like our walls get a little thinner, we become more empathetic to others. Now, it's been my understanding that a lot of so-called, negative alien threats are from those species that do not have the blueprints for empathy or maybe even love. They're very technologically advanced, but maybe they do not have what us humans have, is that capacity to empathize with each other. But for the most part, those of us going through these ascensions, we're becoming more and more empathic. So it does make it challenging. So for me, my biggest challenges this week is that, I wake up and I can tell from my dreaming that I'm dreaming about what's going on with mass consciousness, not necessarily my own processing. So I can feel the emotions of mass consciousness, what people are going through. And it's pretty challenging stuff. Sometimes, the lack of motivation, feeling bad about oneself, not being good enough, feeling kind of hopeless. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So what I do is I check my boundaries with mass consciousness while awake and while asleep. And lately it's been challenging to keep it really up there while asleep because we often go through these ascension upgrades during the nighttime, or at least my nighttime, when I'm sleeping. So I have been intending to use my Ascension 2 program. I put it on repeat, and then I aim it to myself and my husband while we sleep at night, and that definitely helps support me so that I'm not constantly feeling other people's stuff all night long. The other challenge for me personally, and I still have to figure out how to kind of fix it in the bigger scheme of things, is that I discovered that I was using my own personal physical energy to heal myself and others a lot more than I really want to. In other words, I really want to use source-derived energy, right? We all want to use source-derived energy to heal ourselves and others. Why use our own physical energy when it's not necessary? So unfortunately, for the last 3 days that I've checked, I can, go to sleep and be at a place where I've healed whatever it needs to heal in order to allow source to help heal me and others. And then when I wake up in the morning, it's down to 60%. I'm still contributing the 30 or 40% of the energy healing the world and others. So I still have to figure this out. If you have any great ideas, let me know. But the really cool thing is I talked last week about the universal shield. So the universal shield is a shield. It's not that it's 100%, because sometimes people need to heal specific little things in order to make all their shields, completely intact. But the universal shield is kind of a shield that I created. It's a new morphic field. So I actually created it. And this is what you can do too. You create out of the ethers, and we're able to do this, especially with the Topican energies. It just makes things so much easier. What you imagine comes true, of course, if it's in the light. So I created this universal shield that basically repairs and puts up all the other shields. So quickly, the auric shield, astral body shield, oversoul shield, individuated soul shields, your photon shield, your DNA shield, your wave particle shield, and I'm sure there may be more later, but I decided that I was going to download this for everyone. Now, does this mean you necessarily have one? Well, if you don't, it's usually because there's something that's blocking that from being downloaded and activated in you. But the grand majority of people that I've tested do have this shield now. Now, there's a couple of people that did not, who were close to me, and they had some issues, some outdated beliefs or vows or contracts, sometimes from current or past lives. So if you check yourself with muscle testing, just ask, do I have the universal shield downloaded and activated fully in me? And hopefully you'll get a yes. So if you get a no, then you can ask, is now commanded any and all imbalances preventing me from having the shield at 100% optimal be healed in the highest and best way. So that's a Topocan healing command that you can do for that, and intend everything else to be cleared. Sometimes you will have to know exactly what it is that needs to be cleared before it will clear for you, okay? Because maybe you're type 3 or type 4 healing type, and God and Source wants you to be aware of that particular issue before you move on. So, for example, if you have a belief that I'm not good enough, God really wants you to be aware that you have that belief before it releases, before your shield can go back up, for example, because it often connects with all these other aspects of your life. And Source wants you to have that aha, that spiritual, like, growth moment. Like, we don't want to be robbed of those aha, amazing moments. So sometimes just because you click a button and nothing else seems to get better, it doesn't mean that the programs aren't working for you, but it means that there may be something else you need to know. So that's where the one-on-one private sessions are really helpful, and the VIP coaching that I do is very helpful, because we get to figure out for each person, what is it that they really need to know in order to move to their soul's mission, to clear all that negative gunk, get those positive morphic fields into them and move on, and not have to keep struggling. So the Universal Shield has been downloaded to you, and the other aspects that's really important is the aspects of consciousness. How whole are your different aspects of consciousness? So spiritually, mentally, emotionally, energetic, and dimensionally. And you want that to be 100% while awake and while sleeping. So check yourself. How whole are these aspects of consciousness while I'm sleeping? And if you don't get 100%, you can use your Ascension 2 MP3 or MP4s, and to make that intention to keep them whole and keep them healthy. And that'll help, if you have other underlying things to heal, that'll keep that ongoing. So why would you want, your consciousness to be whole and intact? Well, because you can't be controlled then, so you can't have things latch onto you like, harmful ETs, entities, things like that, if your consciousness is whole and intact. And I'm probably going to get in big trouble for this. But I'm going to tell you what I found. So I decided, for the heck of it, one night before going to bed, I was going to check about, who's co-creating your reality. So normally it's you and Source. That's what we should find when we test. Who is co-creating your reality? You should get you, your individuated soul, and, Source. And on one occasion, I got a higher self that was for their highest and greatest good. But for the most part, it's two, you and Source. Okay, so I decided I was going to check who was co-creating the realities of our various presidential candidates. Okay, this is where I might get in trouble. But I thought I'd share with you the results. And they actually kind of surprised me. So here goes. All right, so we started with Donald Trump. So I asked, who was co-creating his reality. Interestingly, he was not in that mix. It was Source, and how many entities was it? Yeah, two. Two entities, two entity consciousnesses were controlling his, or co-creating his reality. Then with Hillary Clinton. We're talking presidential, of course, since I live in the U.S. So presidential candidates. Now, Hillary actually was in the mix, so that's a good thing. So we've got Hillary, we've got Source, and then we had two extraterrestrial consciousnesses. Okay, that part, not so good. Certainly because they weren't in the light. So then I tested some of my favorites. So I tested Jill Stein. Well, Jill wasn't in the mix. And unfortunately, let's see, let me just retest what I had that... Okay, she had one ET consciousness, and that was it, one ET consciousness. And so it was not connected to Source either. So I was severely disappointed, because she is definitely my candidate of choice, given all the options. And then lastly, one of my former favorites, Bernie Sanders, who I like very much, his soul was not co-creating his reality either. He had extraterrestrials on board as well. One, and at least he had Source and ET co-creating his reality. So how does one get you and Source, right? If you find yourself, oh my gosh, I've got two extraterrestrials and an entity co-creating my reality, I'm not even in there, or Source isn't even in there, what do you do? So the first thing you want to do is you want to put your universal shield on, download that. Make sure that's 100%. That usually gets rid of all the extraneous players, okay? The second thing is you want to make sure those consciousness aspects are whole, the ones we just talked about. So you want to check if your conscious aspects is whole, both awake and while asleep. And that usually does the trick for getting rid of the extraneous consciousnesses that aren't supposed to be there. So then what should happen is you and source, right? So what you want to do is you want to repair your connection with source. So in my Light Warrior Boot Camp, lesson 1, which we just did on Saturday, for the folks that are part of that Light Warrior Boot Camp, we did a healing on this to reconnect you to source and your higher self 100%. And that morphic field is also in Ascension 2. That's the Ascension 2 healing product that I have. So if you're using that, you can make that intention. It will happen anyway when you're listening to it, even if you're not using that intention. It just depends on, the universal divine order of what's most important to you gets to heal first. But if you put that to the forefront, then that connection to source and higher self, then that can be the top thing that you heal this week by using your Ascension 2. So then you can check, and what you really should get at the end is that you and source are co-creating your reality. Now, did I fix it? People are going to ask, did I fix it for the presidential candidates? Or I know Bernie isn't a candidate, but I liked him, so I wanted to check on him. Let's just say yes, I fixed it. Now, will it stay fixed? Not necessarily, but definitely we don't want extraneous other consciousnesses potentially, guiding the rest of the country, right? If it's not for our highest and greatest good. So the other thing I want to mention to you is about there's a massive cyber attack on multiple humongous companies here in the United States, and I'm sure Homeland Security was freaking out about it. So when I first heard about it, the first thing I did, and this is what you could do too, when you hear about bad stuff happening, it doesn't matter where it is or what's going on or who it's involving, I immediately send Ascension 1 energies, okay, the Ascension 1 healing product. You go ahead and play that, and you immediately send it to the target. So in this case, I sent it to the target, whoever is causing or contributing to this so-called cyber attack. Okay, so all the people, everything involved, all the servers involved, all the people, all the companies. I didn't know all the companies to send it individually, but I kind of did a blanket one. And by the time I actually manually went in there to do a healing, there were no entities left, but there were originally some involved. And unfortunately, Source says I'm not supposed to give you the details of what I actually did. It would cause too much attention. So let's just say that that would have been pretty difficult, let's just say, for the average Homeland Security person to try to figure it out, because it was pretty woo-woo stuff that I found out thanks to Source. But we did the healing, and, I definitely, after doing the healing, I definitely fully expected everything to be up and running, if not immediately the next day. I didn't even check that day, to be honest. I was that confident. And sure enough, the next time I checked, everything was running perfectly. So let's just say it had to do with dimensional rifts. Okay, that's all I'm going to tell you. So this week, you want to, keep your boundaries strong. You want to, keep those consciousness aspects whole and restored to 100%. And you want to make sure that you got that universal shield. You can actually shield your computer equipment, you can shield objects, your bank accounts, your home, all sorts of things with this universal shield. Just command it to be done. And of course, the Ascension 2 is very powerful with multiple other positive energies that will amplify and support this particular intention. So if you don't have the Ascension 1 and Ascension 2s, you can still get them. I will post the link down below. There are still some package A's available at the current price, I believe, of the $99 for that, plus all the other bonuses that you get. That's well over $2,000 in bonuses and gifts that you can get. And I have now added the free clearing and healing spray on my website. So if you're not on my mailing list at KarenCan.com, go ahead and get on that, because not only am I gifting you 6 chapters of my book, I'm also gifting you this formula for the energy clearing and protection spray, and 6, no longer 5, but 6 of my Fast Track Your Healing program webinar classes absolutely free, and you get to learn how to do muscle testing in that. So lots and lots of value for you absolutely for free, just for you subscribing to KarenCan.com. So if it's helpful for you, share it with others, tell people about it. And definitely if you're not on my YouTube subscribe list, go ahead and subscribe below. We have some great radio shows coming up for you. And if you didn't catch the one on the Qigong that I did Monday, please do. If you're at all interested in Asian medicine and vitality and Qi, this is well worth your time to check it out. And also, I'm going to be interviewing my wonderful friend and mentor, Dr. Bradley Nelson, creator of the Emotion Code and the Body Code, where I learned all about entities and it basically exploded my business since then, given my knack for dealing with them. So Dr. Brad is actually going to be talking about wealth and abundance and how we can get more of that, and how we can use a tool like the Body Code to assist us. So that's going to be really exciting. So we got lots of really great radio shows coming up. And if you don't already know and you're not on my mailing list, I will be interviewed by Unbounded Potential Thursday night. It's going to be late Eastern time, but Thursday night at 9. And we're going to talk about holistic healing and what's missing in holistic healing. So definitely check that out. The link is below that you can sign up for all their wonderful telesummit speakers too. All right. Have a wonderful week and take care of yourself. Remember to hydrate. That's very important. Hydrate minerals. Always when we're expanding, we need to work on that. So, all right. Love y'all. Bye.